What's up, investors? Should you buy the mega dip on the EV stocks? So let's just start with a juicy part. I'm gonna tell you my story in a couple seconds. I started investing in July, August, right here. Got into EVs slowly but surely because I love them. November, boom, crazy stuff happened. EV euphoria hype just like to the moon. I turned 15K into 31. Everybody was ridiculously euphoric in January 2021. And then this is where it got things started trailing down. Everything in tech and especially EVs. 31 went down to 23. And thank God.
It's now or never, Mark.
Sell it all.
I sold all my stocks, account went to zero, and I put it all into a real estate property. It was not part of my plan, but I did it. The blessing here is that everything went down. Really sad for a lot of investors. And now is the perfect time to think about getting back into EVs. But is it a good time? Let's get into it. Right now, I'm gonna run through 25 EV stocks real quick. And I'm gonna first mention 3 patterns to really watch out for because they're critical, especially if you're starting out. This is for you. Don't invest into EVs before you watch this video. And I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do at the end of the video. So stick around for that. Back to myself in night mode. Boom. So let's get right into it.
This is Two Random Dudes
Invest. With our brand new setup, we're gonna do this format where it's less editing, more raw, more videos, because we're gonna be spending less time editing these videos and just pumping them out and giving you exactly what you want. So if you want more of this, definitely comment below. So let's go right into it. Into TradingView, there's actually a couple things that you have to know before we continue. And that is, I'm just a random dude. I'm learning. I'm very excited about this. I'm passionate about this. Don't listen to what I do. I know nothing.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
There's actually 3 patterns that repeat. The old triangle pennant that repeats quite often in all of these EV charts. There's the head and shoulder pattern that is hugely recurrent. On the positive, if you are bullish on EVs, you really want to see a double bottom or this falling wedge that breaks out to the top, to the upside, and hopefully not the downside. This is a huge thing to understand with EVs. The price of Tesla highly influences all the EV stocks. You cannot escape it. It's everywhere. So that's very key to understand. And on top of that, the different market sectors also influence Tesla and its price, and along with the EV sector as a whole. So if the whole market goes down, even though EVs would be doing great, it's still gonna go down. So that's always good to remember. So let's put the timer, 5 minutes. We're gonna do as many stocks. We got 25, let's not wait. All right, so Tesla, since last year, it went up, boom, the big craze. It did 1 penny, boom, shot up all the way to 800 like a crazy person because of the S&P 500 inclusion. Now it's balancing out. So we'll see what happens, but something's gonna happen at the end of May, beginning of June. Moving on, we're gonna hit the big top dogs in China. So we got NIO. So NIO has been just ripping it. I've been following this company since the beginning. I even bought some at 13 and it went to all-time highs, roller coaster, and now it's really testing this 35, 34 support. But if not, it could go all the way to 28, 21 perhaps, but I don't think so. But maybe 28 is the next support line, otherwise 50. XPEV, not looking too good for XPEV. It's just retesting this previous really weak support, $26, 25. It could still go back to the $22 mark and even test the $20. I would not be surprised if it does that, but hey, it could go up. All right, Lee this is a perfect example of the old falling wedge. So like that, it's down and now it's starting, but it looks actually more like a down. It broke the pattern. Unless this pops back in, hits that support and it keeps it, that will be good for Lee. Otherwise, it is possible that it goes all the way down to 15. I would not be surprised. Lee just has one model. It is a half electric, half gas. BYD, those are just a couple of other Chinese companies. You can clearly see a head and shoulder pattern. It could still go back down a long way, but I don't know enough about them, so I'm gonna just skip them. Geely, this is more to let you know about these companies, so at least you have a watch list to watch for the future. KANDI, I will not touch with a 50-foot pole. I don't know, it's like these dinky Chinese cars.
She'll go 300 hectares on a single tank of kerosene.
What country is this car from?
It no longer exists, but take her for a test drive, and you'll agree. Zagrebebnym złotych diew. Put it in H!
But I will not spend time on this. All right, so we're gonna get into the juicy stuff. So these are American companies. And again, all this is very, very speculative. This is so speculative, like you could lose a lot of money. Don't buy these things if you don't really know what you're doing. But hey, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do at the end of the video. Let's just continue. So GOEV is Canoo. So these guys fall in the category of companies that will have production in 2024. So that's in a while. It's testing these all-time lows of like $7. I bought some at 10. I'm gonna nibble at this one because I think it's a good company. The main thing to remember is, yeah, this seems like, oh yeah, this is a really low price. It can't go lower, but in fact, it can. It can go lower, and that's actually one of my biggest tip. One, to have a plan for any trade, and number two is to make sure that in this plan, if the stock goes down 20, 30, 40%, you have a plan for this, and it's not gonna shake you out because you already planned for it, and not be stuck with a minus 40 huge big red numbers on your account, which does not feel good at all. I've done it, not fun. So this thing could go to $6, $4, who knows? They're producing cars in 3 years. They're not gonna make any money anytime soon. Same for Arrival. It's gonna be in a while, but the Rival is a little bit more solid company. So basically all these companies are doing the same. They tested the top and now they're testing the low. Arrival, great company. I am very bullish on them. Moving on, Lucid Motors, which is CCIV. A little bit overpriced. It's starting to get fair priced right now, around this $18 mark. It's starting to do a falling wedge. This is the critical moment here. If it actually is able to support, if the bulls show us that they're in control at 18 and it continues, breaks through this, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good for Lucid. But if this breaks to 18, goes to 17, it could go to 15, 14, $10. Who knows? Besides the CEO driving around in his car, there's not much happening. They're not producing cars, but they are doing publicity stunts. All right, moving on. We got Lion Electric, a more local company from Canada. They actually produce electric buses. So they just changed their ticker symbol to LEV just last week. So that's why I popped. And then we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. It could come back down. I wish I bought some at 13, but I did not. I did that with Arrival right there. So I was pretty happy with that. So if it comes back down, I'm gonna buy more. Same with LEV. If it goes retest this strong support, I'm gonna get some shares, but not too much. All right, we're gonna get to the juicy stuff. Charge Point. It's the biggest charging network in North America. You're not betting on a specific company, you're betting on charging stations, which will be used for sure, and they're actually making money right now. It was overvalued and overhyped, so right now it's doing the old falling wedge pattern, and we'll see what happens. But I will be nibbling at this company for sure, but don't listen to me. I'm just a random dude. All right, FISKER. FISKER is like I would not touch FISKER. It's just, it has one car. Let me know if you want to hear more about any of these specific companies. There's just so much to talk about. Let me know down in the comments, and I would be glad to make a video if I get enough comments. Like, this thing is a falling knife. It could still go to $8 to the all-time lows. Dangerous. All right, Hylion, no time to waste with this until they show us some really good profits and actually show us that they are capable of doing more than just assembling trucks with some parts in a shop. it's not that big of an operation and the margins are very low. Not a huge fan. Same with electric last mile, it's same thing. So they're buying pre-used shells. For these guys it's vans, the other ones was trucks. So they're buying a shell and then they're adding parts to it from different suppliers, and then they're repackaging it as these new electric vehicles. It's good to keep an eye on them. That's why I put them there. All right, we are moving to America. So now we're talking about Ford and GM. So these are totally different. They're not really EV plays, but it's more to compare the OEMs to the old regular growth EV stocks. Ford did all right since the beginning of the pandemic, obviously, and now it's kind of like bouncing out. We'll see what happens. They released the Mach-E, great car, so we'll see what happens, but at least they're making money. Hey, Ford. GM, they are a little bit overvalued right now, in my opinion. GMC bought Cruise, and they're the ones that make all the autopilot for GM. If they haven't had bought them, they'd be in the garbage right now in terms of EV and next tech. So GM did some really good moves. More importantly, we're gonna close this tab. They announced some stuff, the EV Hummer, corporate delivery package, yada yada yada, but we haven't seen anything. Feels hypey. I want to see some stuff. GM, we'll see. Workhorse and Ride, I'm not gonna spend much time on them, but basically it's kind of a disaster. All this hype was really because of the USPS contract that they might have had, and in the end Oshkosh got it with Ford, I believe. So this is what happens when there's a lot of hype. This is why it's good to understand any bad news couldn't just derail a whole stock. So these are highly speculative. Here's an example. Ride here had a short report. So that's Lordstown Motors. They make pickup trucks in the United States of America. There's a lot of controversy. Let me know if you want to see a video about that. Lordstown, basically one of their trucks caught fire. That's not good at all. They have all these reservations that are non-binding, but in the end, I never understood that they were binding, but it is dodgy how their whole factory, there's no pictures or videos of their factory with trucks getting built in the factory. It all looks ghetto. This is why it's at $8 right now. I wouldn't touch it. All right, so these guys, FIII, Archimoto, AYRO, and Solo, these are like these small three-wheeled cars. Archimoto is more recreational. You see this head and shoulder pattern. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I wouldn't touch it. I don't really believe in this segment because there's not a big market for these cars in my opinion, but it's there for you in case you're interested. All right, so these are electric scooter, new in China. I don't know enough about them, so I will not invest, that's for sure. And a little bonus for the end. So this is EHang. I made other videos about EHang, links up above. Check them out for the review and are they the next Tesla? But right now, ooh, it went from $10 to 20 to 50 and boom, all the way to 120. And then they had a short report that basically claimed a bunch of stuff, half of which is not really that important, and I still believe in the company, but it was way overvalued. I knew it was gonna go to like 20, 25, 35. I had my hunch on that. I bought a couple at 30 and now at 25. But the thing is, this thing could go to 20. If it breaks the 20 mark, it could like go to 18 and go even lower to 15. Who knows? This is very speculative, but very promising and exciting. All right, now for the final, what am I gonna do with all these stocks? So I actually started positions in GOEV, Canoo, Arrival at the low. I'm also have positions in EHang, EH. So I'm doing a short to medium term swing trade. But the main thing to remember to all these stocks is that they can go much lower. And right now it's going down and most of them have a support line. Usually they have a wedge. And they're gonna hit that support level. They're either gonna go continue sideways, or they're gonna break through that support, and that's gonna be determined by the broad market. The tech market, the S&P 500, has more to do with the general sentiment of the whole stock market, has everything to do with that. So in the next 2 weeks, we're really gonna find out. We should really pay attention to how it's gonna act. And most importantly, my mistake was that I put too much in the first positions I put. What not to do is put too much right away, because then if it goes down another 20-30%, well, you're in the red 30% and it hurts real bad. That's not good. So it's better to go smaller positions. It's not the time to go YOLO calling. These stocks will not go flying high like they used to last year. This is not the time for that. This is a time where it's going to go sideways, down, or the thing to watch out for also is a lot of them go back up, but it's just a false dead cat bounce. It's called a dead cat bounce. I got burned on that because I thought it's coming back up, but you need to always see the confirmation of the trend, because it could go back up, but then go back down and then even lower than it was before. So position sizing. I'm gonna give you more updates as we go, so hopefully that was helpful. If you want to hear about specific companies, specific ticker symbols, write them down below. And if you own any of these specific companies, also let us know if there's any ways to improve this format. And if you like it, don't like it, let me know down below. Excited with this new setup. On that note, stay curious. I'll see you next time.